It's day 2 of the Christopher Morris Weekend Spectacular, where once again in Fans Not Experts Movie Month, we'll be highlighting a film that Christopher Morris has been after me for years to watch. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
Single red ant could have eaten it faster.
You're losing perspective and compassion. There's a reason I'm sitting behind this desk running things, and you're out there with a partner that's 20 years younger than you.
Hey, Anthony's got a mouth with his own engine, but he's solid.
I'm thinking about the kind of future I can offer my girlfriend.
Pops is a yesterday who ain't worth words.
Good heavens and praise be to him. Your absence was a weight upon us.
Thank you, Mr. Edmonton.
I don't like doing things with so many question marks everywhere.
There's a lot of imbeciles out there. Start the party.
This is a bad idea.
It's all cotton candy.
We have the skills and the right to acquire proper compensation.
I'm going to watch 30 movies, a movie each day in June. Day 27 of year 8 of movie month, and the podcast will start soon. He's going to watch 30 movies, some good films and some lowbrow. Year 8 of Fans Not Experts Movie Month, and the podcast starts right now. Year 8 of Movie Month, that much you already know. Year 8 of Movie Month, and now it's time for the show.
Street corner felines. Street corner felines. Ooh, felines like the strut. Canines like the hunt. All animals seek companionship.
Step 1. Talk about a really well-made movie. Step 2. No road rage while I'm driving. I think I can accomplish both here on this 27th day of movie month. Folks, we're back. We're back for another thrilling adventure of movie month, and we're back to close out the 2-day Christopher Morris Weekend Spectacular. This one, Chris has been after me, I want to say last year at this time, to the point where there was a post on the website saved in draft for over a year now that I was like, oh, I'm going to watch this movie. And then I was like, you know what? I'm not going to watch this movie this year. And then it's been sitting there. I had it listed as HBO Max. I guess that's where it was last year. Ready to go at 75% on Rotten Tomatoes. And finally I said, you know what? Let's just do this. Let's watch this movie. I wasn't sure what I was expecting getting into it. I think that when I think I was going to not enjoy a good movie. Like, I was going to be too uncomfortable the whole time to be like, I'm not really like enjoying this, even though I see it's good. Because there's types of movies that are like that, and they're worthwhile views, and your uncomfortableness or discomfort, that's the word, is part of the experience, I'd say. And I think that's what I was expecting with this. But it's not on HBO Max. Thankfully, who was there again to save the day but good old free Tubi. Again, if you're not familiar with Tubi, it is 100% free. There are ads, and the ads aren't too cumbersome. Like, they're pretty short. They do pop up. I mean, this was a long movie, so there are a lot of ad breaks, but it never felt like, oh my God, too many ads. And they don't censor these movies. These aren't made, edited for TV or anything like that. These are the original films as seen, as intended, just with these little ad breaks. And I feel like somebody at Tubi is looking at perfect spots to throw the ads in. Like, we need to have this many ads in. It's not just an algorithm that says every 17 minutes or something like that, I think. Because it seemed like the ads came at perfect little, like, breaks or interludes that never like screwed up the flow of the movie or any action or any intense scenes, which there were plenty of in this film. What was I expecting? I was expecting two dirty cops being dirty and just doing whatever it takes to get the job done, no matter how terrible they are, and you kind of don't root for them. And that wasn't really the case with this. I was also expecting someone to be curb stomped. I don't know why. Maybe I took the dragged across concrete too literal. I was expecting literally someone's face at some point to be dragged across concrete. And again, that didn't happen. I think it obviously is more of a metaphor. Also, I'm like, I'm watching another Mel Gibson film. Like, you hate to say that this guy is still a good actor, even though he's pretty much a despicable dude. And I'm like, here I am watching another Mel Gibson. And this time, is he the bad guy? He's not a good guy, but he's not the villain of this movie. And Vince Vaughn, again, I'm watching a Vince Vaughn movie. Now, this one was not even not even close to as fun as Freaky, but there were some fun moments and fun elements, and he's part of that. His accent, it took me out a little bit. At first, I thought, wait, are they supposed to be in Boston? I don't even know where they're supposed to be. Like, I was like, is the town completely fake? I didn't even look that up. Was it like Bulkhead or something like that? It could have been completely made up, or it could be a real town. I have no idea. But the story is these two cops, this grizzled old veteran and his younger old veteran, because Vince Vaughn is no kid anymore. They're just kind of rough around the edges cops who do what they think it takes to get the job done. Like, are they rough? Yes. Are they seeming like, are they insensitive? Yes. Are they racially insensitive? Sure. And I was expecting like them to be completely dirty. Like, at the beginning, there was they're trying to get this guy who had drugs on him, and they're trying to lure him out of his apartment. And they get him, and they rough him up, but someone catches it on camera, and they rough him up too much. I was expecting them to step on his face and kill him. When they're inside, there's a woman inside. I was expecting them to kill her in the shower. And make it look like like it would cover up the crime. I was expecting them to steal and rob the money. All these things, they don't do any of it. They are not crooked cops, but they are not the cleanest. Like, because it seems like Mel Gibson's character has been reprimanded and suspended in the past, and you get Don Johnson as like their chief lieutenant. He is in it for one scene and one scene only. But he was in Bone Tomahawk? Was he in Bone Tomahawk too? All I know is the director and writer S. Craig Zahler has his own little group of people that he likes to use and reuse. And like the bank manager, he's been in all his movies. I've seen Bone Tomahawk. I've talked about Bone Tomahawk here. I have not seen his first film. He's directed 3 films. He's written a few. He's written a couple others. But he's known for like this rawness, this cruelness, and violence. I mean, Bone Tomahawk had some crazy violence. And guess what? So did this. But it wasn't as graphic as I was expecting. There was, got to cut open a belly to get a car key out of someone who swallowed it. Sure, I guess that's a little extreme, and I did cover my eyes. But these guys, so the 2 cops are reprimanded for this thing about being caught on camera, and really it's about being caught on camera. And they have this little speech about, this is just the news doing, the entertainment business used to be known as the news, blah, blah, blah. Like, it's a little social commentary on things. And it's like, is it defending, what they do? And I think that's part of the reason I didn't want to watch this last year. I'm like, I don't want to watch a movie where there's anything where like defending crooked cops. I don't think that's, I want to talk about that. And I guess I was expecting more of that, but it wasn't much of that. There was this one scene, and then Vince Vaughn makes a pretty racial statement, a quote unquote joke about Martin Luther King Day. He's like, I'm not racist. Every Martin Luther King Day, he orders a dark roast coffee, which of course is the comment alone is the epitome of racist. The fact that you think it's funny and you say it nonchalantly to your bosses is even more racist, and they don't reprimand you. The whole thing was just like, is that supposed to be funny? Or is it supposed to be uncomfortable? Because if it's supposed to be uncomfortable, I am. If it's supposed to be like, ha, 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 I'm like, I don't know about that. But then they throw you for a loop because he talks about his girlfriend. He talks about getting engaged, and his girlfriend is an African-American woman. So I was like, wait, okay. So he can be, he can not be racist, but also still be racist. Like, he's not like a patent racist, but he's not a non-racist. Isn't that the thing? He's not a non-racist. I think. I don't know. A lot of stuff in this that I'm like, I didn't want to touch at all last summer. I don't even like talking about it this summer, but it happens in this movie, and it made me think of these things, so I'm not going to completely shy away from it. But it wasn't, again, the sticking point, the highlight of this movie. It wasn't about 2 racist, crooked cops doing things above the law, it wasn't. It was 2 cops who get suspended, and Mel Gibson's tired of living where they are, tired of his daughter getting assaulted by like these young guys who not like beat up, but just like assaulted, like messed with. They threw orange soda at her, and he's just tired of it. And his wife has MS. She used to be a cop. She has MS. She can't work anymore. She's like, maybe you could work for the security. Oh, she can work for the security. He's like, you're not going to do that. You have to take medicine just to chop up dinner. You're not going to do this. So they made both these characters human beings, So you weren't like it's tough when you try not to look at it as Mel Gibson. You try to look at it as this guy who's a dad. Even though I feel like the daughter. What did he have the daughter when he was 50? I guess he did. Because he was saying, he's saying he's almost 60. Well, I thought that was crazy. I thought, no way, Mel Gibson has got to be close to 70 now. He's not. He's like 60-something. So he could have had this kid, in his late 40s. That happens. Okay, I'll deal with that. I was like, are we sure that's not his grandkid? They could have done that too. I mean, we all saw Daddy's Home too. And I think they said, he's a partner who's 20 years younger, Vince Vaughn. And I was like, is that true? Is Vince Vaughn really supposed to be almost 40? I don't know if I buy that either, but that's okay. Automatic lane assist triggering in. Don't worry, I didn't almost kill anybody. And there's no jerk motorcycle. Look, I'm not going to focus on the jerk motorcycle guy. So we see 2 things. Like, we see Mel Gibson go to a mall, and he goes behind a suit store in the mall where there's this really well hidden, nice like wood mahogany office where this manager of this suit company is, and apparently he's some sort of fence or connection that a lead. And Mel Gibson just is like, listen, I need something from out of town that deals with drugs. He's like, he just wants to make a quick fix and make some money. I thought when he left his family that night, he was going to go find those kids and mess them up. He did not. He instead went to this guy, and then he calls Vince Vaughn in the middle of the night, meet me here. They drive to this place to go see that guy over there. There's a guy here who's a druggie, he's got a hidden apartment in this building, and we're going to take the money he has. So they're deciding right then and there, while they're suspended, they're going to steal from a thief. And Vince Vaughn is not on board with it right away. He's not excited about it. He's not into it really. He's not sure if he wants to do it. And okay, I was like, okay, they're not just criminals. Like they're psyching themselves up for this. You know, they talk about all the times you could have taken this bag or that bag from evidence. You never did these things. So while they're rough around the edges, they're not quote unquote dirty cops yet. That's what I got out of it. They never committed these crimes yet. But they're ready to plan this crime, this basically thieving from a thief. The same time that is going on, was I supposed to go or not? I don't know. It was a four-way stop. I don't remember. The same time that is going on, we meet a young fella who just got out of prison. He is there. Now, him and Michael J. White. I recognize him, too, from something. I don't know what it is. He was on Sons of Anarchy years ago. I don't know. African-American guy, Michael J. White, who's been in a ton of stuff. He's got a really great voice. His voice is just awesome. He's his friend. We learn later they grew up together. He picks him up. They never say he picked him up from prison, but he drives his friend home, and he's like, all right, I got to go see his mom. Find out his mom is got a drug habit, and she's hooking, and he has a younger brother who's in a wheelchair, and he's like, it's kind of a fun scene where he kicks the John out of the house. He's going to bash his brain in, and he has him take the garbage out, too, while he's at it. You could see, like, he's a guy who's had a checkered past, but you're not rooting against him. I think we're supposed to be rooting for him too. Him and Michael J. White, they find they have a job. They're going to work together, so they go off and do that job. At the same time, we see them. We see Mel Gibson and Vince Vaughn doing a stakeout at this guy's apartment, waiting to just catch an eye on this guy, because I think what they're going to do. I thought they were going to wait for him to leave and rob his apartment, but instead they follow him. But what I want to mention is during the stakeout, and Chris brought this up to me, and I was ready for it. But we just watched Vince Vaughn eat an egg salad sandwich. No words said, just quietly, slowly, methodically eating an egg salad sandwich, and he's like really enjoying it. And then they had a fun little scene. Like they had little jokes between them, you know, that made the movie a little lighter than what I was expecting. You know, popping a mint, or it's like a single red ant could have eaten that sandwich faster than you did. You know, just how long it took you to eat it. Yet later they ordered more egg salad sandwiches and some diet root beers. I'm trying to think what else. Okay, so they go to follow. They see this guy finally leave the apartment, and he gets in the car with the two other guys, Michael J. White and this. The actor's name was Troy something. I think in the movie he's Henry. But they call them Slim and Muscles, the bad guy. So he picks them up. They go to an underground parking garage that's under construction, and then this security van leaves with these two white guys driving the security van, and they look really close and go, that's the two guys. That's the two black guys. So they have white makeup on. Now, at the same time, while this is going on, we see a little backstory of who this criminal is, who is hiring to help him. And it's these guys. We never see their faces. It almost looks like a supervillain, or look like something out of Hellboy. Like they have completely head to toe in a mask with goggles on, and they're just you know, just shooting people left and right. They rob a store quickly for some money. I don't know why they did that. But then they go to check out this van, the same van I'm talking about, that is completely, armored and bulletproof. And it didn't take me out of the movie, but the guy who was selling them the tank of a van was the same actor who plays Gary on a superhero show on the CW. I know Chris is going to be so angry that I'm bringing this in, but on Legends of Tomorrow, he plays Gary, who is this goofy, funny, silly character. Who's also an alien, we find out years later. But I was like, wait, what? Is that him? It was cool to see someone you recognize in a completely uncharacteristic role that you're used to seeing them in. So I found that pretty funny. So they leave with this van, and they're driving off, and Mel Gibson and Vince Vaughn slowly start tailing them. At the same time, we see this woman, Jennifer Carpenter, I believe is her name. She was Dexter's sister on Dexter, and I was like, oh, it's nice to see a recognizable, another recognizable person in this. She must be a main character in this movie who has to deal with things. That makes sense. So we see her, and she's about to get on a bus. She freaks out. She goes into her apartment. Her husband locked her out, will not let her in because she is avoiding work. They have a new baby at home, and you can see she's got this she's anxiety. I don't know if it's postpartum depression. She doesn't want to leave her baby. She doesn't want to get back to work. She's freaking out. And finally, the husband says, "Nope, you have to do this." Bad choice, Dad. Because she goes to the bank, and everyone's so friendly and happy to have her back. They make this little shrine, a little thing with the baby's picture. What else do they do? Oh, the bank manager gives this poetic speech about how happy it is to have her back. And while this is going on, you see, before she goes into the bank, you see in a building across the street a reflection of the armored car, the van that they have. Actually, it wasn't even an armored car, was it? It was just a van? It was a security van. And you're like, oh no, something's going to connect here. And she goes into the bank. Then the van pulls up, and they're like, are we expecting a delivery? They come in really quickly and said, hi, we're here to rob you. And it was a cool little instrument they used, like a little uniqueness, that they used a tape recorder. So you couldn't connect any voice to any person. They used a tape recorder. And it was all pre-taped with this plan, like if anyone moves, we execute you. If anyone's in the back, we cut off your testicles. And he's like, no one's in the back, I assure you. And that was my impression of the bank manager. How he talks very poetic, like this. And Jennifer Carpenter's there, and they go, you woman, they slide these zip ties, you handcuff everybody. If you talk to anybody, we will execute that woman. And so she starts tying them up, and one of the guy looks at her and is like, look, and gets her to look at a computer that has an email almost sent to saying we're being robbed. He's like, hit send. He goes to hit send. She goes to stop him because she's afraid. She just wants to get home to her kid, and shots go off, and it looks like her hand was shot off maybe, and part of her fingers were shot off. She takes a little baby booty, the baby booty that she took off her kid to kiss his feet before she left, and says, this is Jackson, make sure she gets it. And then they explode her face and shoot her face off. And I'm like, what the hell? I thought she was a main character. I thought she was going to be a major part of this movie, having, something with the bank robbers. And nope, they brought her in and they pulled the rug right from under us. Oh, you recognize this person? She did. And then they use another woman that you don't even recognize as the hostage later on in this movie. They rob this bank. Meanwhile, Mel Gibson and Vince Vaughn are outside, and they have no idea that anything's going on. They're like, this is just like, they're not going to try anything in the middle of the day in the financial district. Wrong. The bank leaves, and they, the van leaves, and they follow, and they look into the bank, and a woman's screaming, please, please, don't leave me. Don't leave me. And they just drive right by, and they see some dead bodies on the ground, and they just kind of look and keep going. Now, she doesn't know they're cops. She's just banging for help. And we see bodies lying on the ground just real quickly. And I guess the IMDb trivia had said, if you look real close, it looked like one of the people was castrated. which says there was someone in the bank in the back. So he said if there's someone in the bank in the back, we'll shoot off your testicles, I think is what they said. Oh, no, they'll cut him off with this knife. So Vince Vaughn is freaking out. He's like, there's people, we need to help, we need to call this in. And Mel Gibson is like, nope, he is solely focused on following these people. He's like, by the time, they do this, there's nothing we could have done anyway. There's nothing we can do except do what we're doing now. This is it. So now they follow these guys. Meanwhile, in the van, we see the two black guys are in the front seat. They wipe off their white makeup, and they actually hid some guns in the car earlier. They mentioned, but the guys in the mask and the main bad guy are like, put your guns away, hide your guns, keep driving. Is there anyone following us? And this guy Henry, you could tell he knew someone was following them, but he let it happen. He's like, nope, nobody's behind us. And the other guy was about to say, I don't know, there's someone. He's like, nope, nobody's behind us. There was one, and they had a nice little conversation between the two guys in the front seat. You could see they were longtime friends, and they went to a birthday party together, had an ice cream cake, and he's like, your mother gave me a bigger piece than you, and I remember how angry you got. He says, he's like, the birthday boy is supposed to get the biggest piece. That's the rule of moms in the mom's rule book. He's like, yeah, but I think your mom could tell that my mom didn't really take good care of me. He's like, yeah, she knew. And did he say, and had a crush on you? Now that's where I was trying to connect. Was he saying that he goes, yeah, she knew. Was he admitting to being gay at that point? Like your mom knew and didn't care, or like that I had a crush on you? I wasn't sure. The way he said, yeah, she knew, I thought that was the case. And I was like, oh, that's an interesting, just kind of, character trait. Or was it the mom had a crush on this guy because the mom, was a druggie, and she turned to pimping, or not pimping to tricking? Is that what I have very little experience with prostitutes. I mean, I would say none. So I think it's tricking or turning tricks. I don't know. But anyway, they're driving along, and they finally get to this dirt area where they're going to switch cars. But these two guys are like, they're criminals, yes, but you are rooting for them. You don't dislike them. You like these guys. And you kind of you hate the guys in the back. That is no problem. The guys in the back of the van, screw them. You hate them. You want them, they're bad to them. These guys, you are rooting for them. And Mel Gibson and Vince Vaughn, you're kind of rooting for them too. You're like, you don't mind them stealing this money from them. I mean, yes, the people in the bank, that is a unforeseen casualty that they didn't know they were getting themselves into, but it is still a fact. They have a woman back there with them. They do a real gross thing where she's like, I have to pee, and they pull her pants down and stick panties up her pants and make her pee, and then have the guy throw it out the car door. Very gross. At one point I got confused. I thought that was Jennifer Carpenter. I said, wait, did I not see her face get blown off? And then I realized it was the other woman in the bank, or another woman in the bank. They get these, they have one of the guys get out of the car, and this is the guy Henry, they call him Slim. He goes to unlock the garage door, and they're like, don't try anything, because they have a gun pointed on his friend, and his friend's like, screw this. He starts shooting, he jumps out of the car, but he gets shot. He's lying there, and he eats the key. Then he's like, I swallowed the key. Then he spit it up, which was kind of funny. He was like, oh, shit. Then he swallowed it again. And he's like, good luck finding the key, because he knew he was dead. His friend tried to help him, tried to save him, but he was dead. And Vince Vaughn and Mel Gibson show up there, too. They followed them. They have these masks on. They have their cars not bulletproof. They're what's going on now? They set up this really cool gun that Vince Vaughn has. Meanwhile, earlier in the movie, I forgot to mention, he talked about he bought his girlfriend a ring, and he was afraid he wasn't going to come back from this, so he sent her on an errand to go check something in his pocket. And we see her looking for that. We never see her reaction to it. We see her kind of look at it, but kind of a blank reaction. Then we see a phone call to him while he is, he's got this really cool gun, and he's trying to, get a shot at these guys in the van. He doesn't pick it up. It goes to voicemail. They start shooting, and at one point do they flip the van? They flip the van over at this point. Inside the van, we see the guys taking a picture of this woman's license and saying, "Do you have people who you value live at this place?" He goes, "You do as we say, or we will pay a visit to this address. We will send this to someone who will pay a visit to this address." So we see her crawling out of the car like she's getting away. She's crawling over to Vince Vaughn and Mel Gibson, and she's like, "I'm here." And then she takes the gun, boom, 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 and shoots Vince Vaughn. And then Mel Gibson, boom, takes her out. She's dying. Very brutal, matter of fact. I don't even think there's any music. There's something more visceral. I've used that word a lot, but it is a good word. Visceral when there's no music to a scene, or if there is, you don't notice it. So Vince Vaughn is now dying, and he's like, he goes, "I don't want this to be like what people remember me for." She's like, "Don't worry, you won't be part of this. I'll keep you out of this." And he smashes. Oh, he goes, "You have a voicemail from her." He goes, "Oh yeah." He goes, "I'll give you the passcode." He goes, "I know your password." That shows just how close they are. He knows his friend's password. He knows his partner's password. He goes to type it in. Vince Vaughn listens to it. He's like, huh. He's like, "What? No?" He goes, "That's not the news I wanted to hear." So she said no. So I was like, "Oh, well, that sucks." I mean, I guess it would have been more heartbreaking if she said yes. But now he goes out knowing that she said no. And Vince Vaughn, Mel Gibson's like, "Let me smash your phone." He starts smashing it. He makes a comment to her. He starts saying something to Vince Vaughn, and Vince Vaughn slumps over. He's already dead. And it was like, ooh. Now Mel Gibson is pissed off beyond all belief. He drives straight into the van, starts taking the guys out one by one, using smoke bombs and stuff. Pretty cool little scene. And then he gets by everybody. And then the last minute, boom, we see that guy Henry. He's got a gun that he had hidden. He and Mel Gibson have a standoff where they're going to, he's going to steal everything. He's calling him a crooked cop and all these things. He's like, "Listen, I have a wife. I have a daughter who's been getting bullied and assaulted. I have a wife who's MLS. I need this." So they go to hatch a plan, 60-40. Then there's a fight that ensues, but nobody shoots each other. And I thought Mel Gibson was going to take him out right then and there. I'm ready for anything, any shot at any time to take anybody out. But it doesn't happen like that. They get into, they do everything. They take the gold, they put it in a van, they drag the car along with all the bodies. They're going to bury the bodies. They're going to get rid of the car. They do all that, and then they're in a car together. And then Mel Gibson had a gun hidden. He holds it up against this guy's neck. He's like, "Listen, I don't want to," and he was like basically saying, "I don't want you to be screwed over. If you do this, we'll be fine. Everything will go away like this." And this guy is like, "Why you got to do this?" Oh, he had a video of Mel Gibson. He goes, "Give me your gun, give me your phone, give me your password," because he had a video of him killing that woman. And he's like, how will it look if this gets out to the news? So he was using that blackmail to get him to help with, to get some of the gold. And they planned on 60-40. But Mel Gibson was like, if that photo and video is available, someone could hack your phone. It's available. It could always be held over me. He's like, "I wouldn't do that. I would not do that." He's like, "I'm sorry." He goes, "Give me your gun." He passes. He goes, "No." And then there's a tussle. The gun goes off. Shots are fired. Mel Gibson gets hit. And he's like, what the F? He goes, "I was going to hold, my word is my bond. I was going to hold that." He goes, "Please," he goes, "Did you say what you said about your wife and daughter true?" He's like, "Yes." He goes, "I'll make sure they're taken care of." He goes, 40%. It's like, "Well, I'm not going to give them 40%, but I'll make sure they're taken care of." And then we see him burying all his, the bodies. His friend, he goes, "I'll come back for you. When this is all over, I'll come back for you and give you a proper burial." And the final couple scenes, 11 months go by, and he is living it large. He's in this huge house, and they they like earlier in the movie he's playing a video game with his brother, and his brother's a really smart kid. He's in a wheelchair, but he's a bright kid who wants to design video games for a living and go to school for that kind of stuff. But they didn't have that kind of life then. Now they've got a beautiful house on the ocean. His mom's getting a massage. Everything's beautiful. They're like, you want to order out? She's like, no, I'll cook you something nice. The brother has his own game room, this huge TV and all these things on, all these games and everything. And he's like, you want to play a little? Let's play a little. And then we see a shot of Mel Gibson's family getting a package in the mail from a P.O. box with the dad's last name on it, and she opens it up, and there's like a bunch of gold, not 40% of what they took, but a bunch of gold that will get them out of where they live and give them a better life. And she's like, thank you, and she's thanking her husband. He really did do this for that. His last kind of hurrah was making sure they get this, and he's lucky that this Henry guy was an honorable man. Then we see him back with his brother, and he's like, "You have that other game, Shotgun Safari? Yeah, let's play it." And he was like, "Let's get ready to hunt some lions." And then the movie ends, and I was like, "That's what this guy kind of did. He took out all these lions, and the music's playing Shotgun Safari." I was like, "Wait, was there a fake video game made for this song?" Or what's going on in this? Because this sounds like an old kind of Motown type sounding thing. It's sung by the OJs, but it's co-written by the director. That's Craig Zoller. He's a drummer. He's been in some metal bands. So he's a musician. He co-wrote this song and the Feline song that I have playing during this. Unless I played Shotgun Safari, I haven't made that decision yet. Though. I don't know at this point. It's crazy. But he co-wrote both those songs. I don't know if he co-wrote every song, but he co-wrote both those songs, and I thought that was really just a cool little touch. It was like a funky song. I don't know what else to say. But it was like, it really had a groove to it, and I was like, damn, like it gave some almost like a 70s exploitation type film, like a 70s crime film feel to it. And that's the end. That's the end of the movie. I actually, when I say I enjoyed it more, like I knew it was a good movie, but I think I enjoyed it more than I thought I would. Like, I had more of a good time. There was uncomfortableness. There was parts that made you cringe, certain turns of phrases and stuff, but I think that was the intended purpose, and that worked. But there were parts that were a little light, parts that were just joking, parts that just made you chuckle, and I liked that. And as if they were dirty, if they were crooked, if they were just jerks, the interplay between Vince Vaughn and Mel Gibson was enjoyable, And I don't care about these people in their real lives. That's not what I'm focusing on. I'm focusing on this production, these performances. And I watched Freaky, where Vince Vaughn just went full old classic comedy Vince Vaughn. That was fun. I watched Boss Level, where Mel Gibson was this literally cigar chewing villain who wasn't in it enough and didn't have a lot to do. And now I see them together, where they're both performing and doing really good jobs. I thought that you didn't dislike these guys as much as I thought I was going to going in, even though they're not Boy Scouts. I don't know what else. I don't know how else to describe it, but I think I just did. I think I nailed it. Long movie, but the commercial breaks made it even longer. But still, a worthy movie month entry, and I'm glad I watched it. And the Chris Morris Weekend Spectacular. 2 successful entries into the movie month world. I can't think of the word. The universe, maybe, I don't know. But wow, we only have 3 days left. 3 movies left, and I'm gonna say all 3 movies are. I think they're critically acclaimed. I think I'm gonna say 2 of them definitely are. I think the third one might be. But what are those movies? Well, you're going to have to wait until tomorrow to find out, my friends, because Movie Month is closed for the day. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram and Letterboxd at Geek Mentality. What I realized is I've been making this 2021 Letterboxd list all month long, and the list was set to private. What the hell? So now it's finally set to public. If you want to check it out, follow me on Letterboxd. I never linked to it. Maybe I'll throw a link there on Twitter at Geek Mentality and Instagram at Geek Mentality. The website is fansnotexperts.com. The Facebook page is simply Fans Not Experts. I've been sitting in the parking lot of a grocery store now for 15 minutes. I'm going to go in and get a few groceries, maybe some egg salad. I feel like I've been inspired to get some egg salad and some Diet Root beers. So with that, my friends, wait, I already bought Diet Root beer this morning. Ooh, I'm going to have some tonight in honor of this film. Me again. Now, through the power of editing, I'm back home in my bedroom right now. And I realized I forgot to mention something that I was noticing during the movie that I wanted to talk about. And that was the writing itself and the dialogue. Now, I'm a fan of movies where people talk and it feels extremely genuine. It's just how people would talk. But I also am a fan of the writing, the type of writing where, like, it's deliberately intricate, where people use these certain turns of phrases that aren't exactly how people would talk. Like it's a little almost too, like, I pulled out a thesaurus, and I'm going to use a more intricate word here. And I just felt like, that there's, like, Deadwood very much has that kind of writing. And I felt that a little bit here as well, like just certain turns of phrases, the way that Mel Gibson would say things or Vince Vaughn would say things. You could tell it was definitely the style of the writer and deliberately done by the writer. And I wish I had some examples. Yet right now, all I can remember is Vince Vaughn saying anchovies. That was his kind of way of saying, like, oh, crap. Never explained, just used enough that you could figure it out. He loved food a lot. And, yep, that's it. That's all I wanted to say. Now let's get you back to your regularly scheduled program. All right, my friends, thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for subscribing. I'll see you tomorrow. Until then, make sure no one's around because I look like an idiot screaming in my car. Here is my theme song. This is my podcast. I made it. Geek Mentality's what I named it. And I think you should listen and subscribe, 'cause I'm kinda funny and awesome. I think that I'm worth your time, and I'm kinda handsome. My mom says, please listen and please subscribe. At least listen to this episode.
Fans Not Experts.
Shotgun Safari.